We're in a draft kind of mood here. It's the week before the season. Why not? Let's just have a little fun, some old school radio content. And I got to mention our guy, Ryan Burns at Minnesota, did this. I thought it was a great idea. It's a great way to talk about players, talk about expectations for the season. It's an all Big Ten Illini draft. So basically what we're doing here with Joey Wagner, Derek Piper, and myself is we're going to draft Illinois players that we think have the best chance to make an all Big Ten squad. So we're going to give 5 points for a first teamer, 3 points for a second teamer, 2 for a third teamer, and 1 for honorable mention. So we can go pretty deep because Illinois last year, I think, had 12 guys that had some kind of all Big Ten honors last year. That helps when your defense has that kind of year. So let's go. We have a random generator that did this draft again. Derek Piper's picking first, Joey Wagner's picking second, and I have the snake pick. We're going to go 5 rounds. So 15 players. Maybe if we feel like it at the end, we can go a 6th round if we feel like it. But Derek Piper, you're kicking us off, man, with the first pick. The Illini most likely to get all Big Ten honors.
Let's do it. I think there's a very safe pick to start things off that I could do in Chase Brown, a third teamer last year, but it is a top heavy position. It'd be tough for him to crack the first team, knowing that Ohio State has an AP first team All-American. Braylon Allen's a second team AP preseason All-American. Blake Corum's in there as well. So I think that he could be a pretty safe as probably at least a third teamer yet again, maybe cracks the second team. If I want to draft for upside, I could pick a couple of different guys, but you guys are going to probably dominate me in this. You guys know this football team and probably the Big Ten landscape a lot better than I do. So I'll go safe. I'll just make sure I score some points this year and pick Chase Brown number 1.
I can't disagree with you there, Derek. I had him number 1 on my board because I do feel like third team, if he's healthy, is probably his floor, right? So I can't blame you for going Chase Brown here, number 1. Joey?
Well, there's one pick that I have, but it scares me because that position scares me because there's a lot of players, all of them live in Columbus, Ohio, who I think could eat up a lot of that space. There's so many options, right? Because like you could just score 1 point is great. You could just score points here. I am buying the hype, and I'm going to say Sidney Brown.
Ooh,
I think it's happening for him. There's so much, like, you can't make up the hype that there's been around that guy this year. It doesn't seem fake or anything like that. They're really high on him, and safety feels like a position where somebody could come up and really take some points there.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick, Joey. I had him 3rd because I feel like he's going to be an all Big Ten third teamer at the very least, but they talk about him like he could be a first teamer, right? So I don't hate that pick. My one thing with Sidney is he going to have enough counting stats to get the people's attention. Like he's going to have the tackles. He might have tackles for loss. Does he get 2 or 3 picks?
He's going to be on a coach's team. A coach is going to vote him 1,000 times over.
We know PJ Fleck will. Compared him to Palomalo. I'm going with another DB. I had 1 spot ahead because I feel like the upside might even be higher. And man, he's getting draft buzz, isn't he? He had a great year last year. Yeah. I voted him all Big Ten. I don't know if that was the reason he was all Big Ten or honorable mention, but I am his third teamer last year. He had 8 tackles for loss, 9 pass breakups. I feel like he gets a pick or 2 this year. And I just think he's potentially the highest draft pick on this team when all is said and done. It's a possibility. So I'm going Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback for Illinois, because I do think this defense will still be strong. The other side, I'm going high floor here.
Mm-hmm.
He had all Big Ten last year. He's been all Big Ten 3 times already in his career. He's an offensive lineman playing for Brett Bielema, Alex Palczewski.
Great pick.
Don't really need to say much more.
You're getting 1 point.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, exactly. Joey, who you got?
Oh, heck.
Go with it.
No, it scares me. That's going to be the best value pick for somebody. But what if I miss it? Oh, shoot.
Tough position in the Big Ten. I get it.
It is. That's
You're thinking about Tim Ryman, aren't you? Jeremy right from under Jeremy's nose.
Jeremy would drive here and push me down. He would be ticked off. I want to do it, Jeremy, but it's one of those, you want to do it and you're going to look like an idiot on Thanksgiving if it ends on Thanksgiving and shoot. All right, I'll do it. Give me Isaiah Williams.
Thank you. Have some fun with this, right? Let's get a wide receiver It's been a long
I could have
time.
had some fun if you would have just missed him for one more pick.
It scares the heck out of me.
There.
It scares the heck out of me. Ohio State's got 1 million receivers. Like I just assume Ohio State's going to populate every receiver list in America.
Michigan State, really good. Yeah, there's good wide receivers in the Big Ten. So I get it, but man, if he's over 1,000 yards, which I think
I got 1 point. You got 1 point, right?
We'll mention at the very least. Derek,
I think Joey just has a fractured relationship with wide receivers, being a Packers fan.
Why are you doing this?
like we have a better relationship there.
No, I know, but
get out of here, Derek. It's football only.
I will. All right. That first tier, those are my top 5. And I don't know if you guys had the same. I imagine something close.
Yeah, I didn't even have a board.
I think I'll take someone that would be considered a safer pick, has NFL upside, Keith Randolph. Don't sacks last year. I know that counting stats for like a defensive end that's not an edge rusher might be a little bit risky, but I like his potential this year. And then I'll take a little bit of a roll of the dice. I think he'll get the counting stats, and he flashed last year in game 1, Calvin Hart Jr.
That's a good pick. I was considering him with my next pick just because I think he'll put up great numbers. I think it'll be very impactful if he's healthy, but I think he'll put up really good numbers. Joey.
Well, I'm stuck between 2 guys right now. Shoot. One of them scares me about stats, but if the eye test works. The other one kind of feels like a flyer, but I like the upside. I'm going to go another offensive lineman. I'm going to go Julian Pearl.
He was high on my list. He was definitely in this tier for me. Why Julian Pearl, Joey? Why are you buying him?
There's good buzz around him. He's an athlete, and he's a really, really plus athlete. Left tackles they're kind of the supermodels of the offensive line. I just think it's there. I think could be a big year. I feel a little weird because he's not played left tackle, and we know there had been some thought to keep him at right tackle. Maybe they would have if Alex Palczewski didn't come back, but it's kind of always been his destination, hasn't it?
Yep.
This guy's going to be a left tackle, and here it is. I think he's ready for it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that pick. All right, I'm going to take 2 defenders here back to back. Well, one guy is the other part of the law firm that talking with an NFL scout, they maybe are higher on than Keith Randolph. Johnny Newton, not as long as Keith. They're different players. Keith can set an edge, man. Like, if you're thinking of the prototype in the NFL of a 3 or a 5 technique, it's Richard Seymour or somebody like that. He's got that ability for Illinois. But Johnny Newton is just a game wrecker. He just wrecks the trenches. So I'm going to go Johnny Newton. I do worry about counting stats sometimes, but he's an interior defensive lineman. So I think people see. And then a guy who could put up the numbers that we saw the last couple of years with Owen Carney. I'm going with Seth Coleman. I think he could be maybe the surprise guy we're talking about as a second team all Big Ten guy because he puts up 8, 9, 10 sacks or like 15, 16 tackles for loss. So I'll go Seth Coleman. I think talent-wise, there's not many guys with as high of a ceiling as him. Joey?
Man, I thought my guy was going to be gone. I was going to guess the person I'm going to take is Seth Coleman. And the counting stats scare me. I can't believe I still get a chance to take him. It's Quan Martin.
Yep.
I worry about getting the number of interceptions. I think he's going to have a lot of tackles. The slots are tough when you're playing that nickel. It's tough because they can just not go your way. But for everything they've said about Sydney, if you've listened, not even really that close, they've said about Quan Martin too. They're really, really, that's a heck of a duo that they're pumped about.
Yeah, he was next to my list, Joey. So I agree with the way you drafted there. All right, Derek. You got 2 picks in a row here.
All right. I'm gonna load up on the interior of that linebacking core. If we're talking counting stats, we're talking tackles, second on the team in tackles last year, 6 tackles for loss, Tariq Barnes.
He was next. So don't disagree with that one. I mean, he had great numbers last year, right? Towards the top of the team in almost everything.
He did. This last pick is tough. I'd love to take a flyer on Luke Ford.
I'm gonna go 2 rounds here. I feel like we got 4 guys to talk about, so we can go with 2.
All right. I'd love to take a flyer on Luke Ford, but I don't know if the buzz surrounds him in terms of what we expect. Like, it's died down, obviously, former 4-star,
I wanted to mention that here because I think a lot of Illini fans would have picked Luke Ford by now. I mean, he's on the Senior Bowl watch list. He's on some of these tight end watch lists. But Joey, you and I like talk to the staff like he's not one of the top guys they talk about right away. And, they keep bringing up Tip and Michael Marquez. And, I know Luke dealt with something the last week. They didn't clarify, but it's just like, sometimes they hype these guys. They're not hyping Luke as much as other people.
Can I devil's advocate?
Yes.
All this guy's gotten for 5 years is hype.
I agree. I think
maybe Brett Bielema and his coaching staff are saying, dude, we're not just go play football. Like, we know you're talented. Just go play football. We don't need to do anything to prop you up. You're a really good football player. Just let you be a college kid for a second.
And the reason I love that for Luke, because he still is one of the best NFL prospects on this team. If he has a good year, he's probably going to be in the NFL training camp next year. So, Derek, who you got?
I don't love it. Joey talked me into it, Luke Ford. I'll just take the upside of the talent that he's shown in the past. It's been a while, but let's see it this year, Luke.
You need at least like 30-something catches, right? So I'm really interested, again, how does this offense coordinator use the tight end? But does he get enough targets for that? But the upside is definitely there. The upside is as high as really anybody on the offense besides Chase. Go, Joey.
Yeah. It feels like I know you added another round. It feels like there's only a couple more players here.
Yeah, the last round I just kind of wanted as a flyer, just like flyer upside guys.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay. So before we get there, I am buying the stock. How many offensive linemen do I have? Just the one? Perfect. I am buying the stock in Isaiah Adams.
I like it.
There's been a lot of talk about him, and I understand he's a junior college player. He's not played in the Big Ten yet, but the term special was thrown around. It feels like there was never really a competition with him. I felt like you just penciled him in the second he committed, and he was going to be either left tackle or left guard. That's left guard. Constant on the line. I just think he's got that left side has some potential there with him and Pearl in this offensive line.
All right. I feel like this could be a value pick. Because if Chase Brown gets hurt, Josh Mcrae is going to put up big numbers, boys. I'm going Josh Mcrae because I feel like probably not going to get a point here, but if there's an injury, Josh Mcrae could have a massive year.
And here he goes, Piper.
I was hoping to get him to be that fantasy football running back handcuff. I wanted to be able to get that the last pick. Dang.
I know. Yeah. Then Jeremy's going to jump in front of me. I knew I should have done this when I had the chance.
I'm not.
Wow.
Because listen, I like Tip Ryman. I don't think he's going to put them numbers. I considered Caleb Griffin.
Yeah.
Just because specialist Illinois is pretty good at, and I think Caleb's good. But I'm gonna absolutely roll the dice at probably the worst position in the Big Ten.
Oh boy.
I'm going Tommy DeVito, boys.
Oh,
buy the stock. The stock. I'm going Tommy.
They haven't even announced him as the starter.
The swagger, man. The swagger got me. He's just exactly what I want my quarterback to be. I have not seen him on the field other than the tape, but I mean, this position stinks in the Big Ten outside of CJ Stroud, right? If we're talking about Aiden O'Connell, like good player, right? That's like the second guy, Tua is fine. He's probably going to put up some numbers, but what's it take if Tommy throws for 2,800 yards and 25 touchdowns and leads Illinois to a 7-win season, he's got to be in that discussion, right?
Jeremy, so help me God. If you're filling out this Big Ten ballot and you say, I'm going to vote Tommy DeVito just to get your one freaking point in this draft, I am going to scream.
I mean, there's probably a good chance, guys, we don't even come back and grade this, but I will not.
I know what you're talking about. I sure will.
I will not vote to sway these results. If Tommy DeVito has a Brandon Peters year, I'm not going to vote him all Big Ten.
What if he has Brandon Peters' 2019 year?
No, that's not an all Big Ten year.
Wow.
This is just pure upside late in the draft.
What are you trying to win? Are you trying to win respect among your colleagues? Or are you trying to win this draft? That's what I'm wondering. Man, if we're taking flyers, I'm with you. Like, I want to take Tip Ryman because the buzz has been really real about him. It's hard to do that.
Is he going to get 40 catches? I mean,
that's
you got to get. Like I said 30 before, that's like the low mark. This is a good tight end league. Like, I just don't know if you're going to get the volume.
And I sure don't feel compelled to take another wide receiver. So, man, I'm going to buy the hype. Calvin Avery.
Yes.
Calvin Avery.
Is there hype?
Yeah.
It's there. There
Oh,
is.
man.
I do get worried. I do get worried because Michigan and Ohio State are going to have some big, insanely good defensive linemen, and that's going to be hard. And Michigan State's probably going to be like the power programs get their pick of defensive linemen because there's not a lot of them. So like that's what concerns me. But we've seen flashes of Calvin Avery. If he can play like a 3.25 star, that's really good.
Derek, you asked, is there hype? I think there's tepid hype, if that makes it cautious hype, in that they're like, all right, he's looking good, but we're still pushing him. So, I mean, we've seen flashes on the field. Now it's about just doing it consistently. That's always been his issue. And part of that's just being able to stay on the field and give that effort play after play for an entire drive. So I don't like, he was next on my list, Joey. So Calvin Avery, don't mind. Derek, last pick.
I was thinking Calvin Avery if he did make it to me. I agree with Joey. Don't take another wide receiver. Pat Bryant would be one. Maybe you could think of upside wise. I just don't know if the offense. Well, if Tommy DeVito could potentially make it, then maybe another wide receiver would be in consideration as well. How about if when in doubt, go Brett Bielema, offensive line, Alex Pihlstrom, center. We've seen Doug Kramer be an all Big Ten type of guy at center. Let's see if we can catch some offensive line vibes there.
Guys, I think this draft went exactly how I thought it would go. I don't think there are a lot of surprises here. I mean, I think the top tiers is Joey. I think you mentioned Chase, Sidney, Devin Witherspoon, Palczewski, Williams. Those are your best players. Randolph. And you kind of had this ceiling guys who maybe have a little bit more to prove. And Randolph, CJ Hart, Julian Pearl, Johnny Newton, Seth Coleman. And then kind of solid veterans, Quan Martin, Tariq Barnes, Luke Ford. Then newcomer, Isaiah Adams, Tommy DeVito, and Josh Mcrae just is really good. I mean, Josh Mcrae would probably have as one of the top 10 players on this team, right? Or top 15 players, even though he's a backup or rotational running back. So I don't think there are any shocks here. Were there for you, Joey? Besides DeVito?
Really. Look, I'm not going to say it, Jeremy. You run this thing. I don't know.
Just swing for the fences. Why not?
The one who there's no shocks on this list at all. Is there anyone that's left off that you think
is the Kirby Joseph?
I mean, good Lord, man. At some point, we're just going to end up with 5 offensive linemen. Zy Chrysler is so intriguing to me. He is so freaking intriguing. I have no idea if he's going to be ready. But like, I almost took him as a flyer. I figured 3 offensive linemen was probably too many.
We did not take Isaac Darkangelo, who they keep saying is a starting linebacker.
We did not. Tip Ryman, I'm a little surprised you didn't go with that pick, but I'm with you. I just don't think the numbers are going to be there for him.
Should we have gone with a free safety, whether it was Kendall Smith and we believe him in his 6th year, has this huge year, or just taking a flyer on Keontae Curry, just because of what we saw from that position, Ron Walters' defense last year. Like, that's the one, like, because none of us saw Kirby Joseph coming. The staff didn't see Kirby Joseph coming. Otherwise, they would have started him right away. So I don't think we're missing that guy, but that's the fun of a season, right? Can Brian Hightower turn into the 4-star? Can Pat Bryant be this guy who takes the next step? I don't know.
Does Alec Bryant or Gabe Akis or Ezekiel Holmes step up? I don't know. Like, those are like fun. That would have been the 7th round, right? Right. I mean, there's only a finite number of guys. This is exactly how I thought. I don't think any of us reached either.
No. I think that 6th round just added a little intrigue because I want to take DeVito.
Piper, you said we were going to crush you, man. I don't think we did.
Oh, no, I love those linebacker picks, man. So Piper has Chase Brown, Keith Randolph, CJ Hart, Tariq Barnes, Luke Ford, Alex Pihlstrom. I love those linebacker picks because if the defensive line is really good, which I think Johnny and Keith are going to be really good, and if they stay healthy up front, I think these linebackers are going to make some plays, Joey.
I do too. Calvin Hart is tough because what percentage of those first 3 quarters, like if he's 100% of that, obviously, right? But like, even if he's 70% of those first 3 quarters last year, he's a really freaking good linebacker.
You know what I forgot? Dele Harding was a first team All Big Ten guy. And
that's when wasn't he like 2nd in the country in tackles per game?
Yeah. Calvin's a better athlete. No offense to Dele, who's an awesome player, but Calvin's a better athlete, and they say he's healthy. So I like that, Derek. I thought that could be a really high upside.
Rick Barnes
I
going
would
to
have
get a
felt
ton
even
of
better
tackles.
if Joey would have just stayed away from Isaiah. He would have talked himself into no wide receiver.
I don't even know who I was going to take in his place. I just overthought it. Like I'm looking at this, it probably would have been Keith, I suppose.
Yeah.
We almost flipped that, Piper.
I also love the idea of taking Mcrae. I thought that was a smart move, and Jeremy just outsmarted me a little bit faster.
It's just the running back. Like, so it's the worry you would have about taking Chase Brown 1, right? It's like one injury and all of a sudden, I mean, for all of these guys, but he just takes a pounding. I mean, Josh Mcrae could be the second running back and still run for 700, 800 yards, right? Like that's what's interesting. All right, guys, that was fun. Sweet drafting.
Somebody on the board, keep a tab of this and remind us at the end of the season, since we'll forget.
Keep the receipts.
I will PDF this and I will send it to both of you just so we have it in our inboxes. Thank you, guys.
See ya.
That's fun.